everybody, welcome to our first post-produced video here. We've moved to a sort of a post-production to hopefully make things a little bit easier to view, easier to share, but also it helps skip issues and whatnot. But I have here with me Benjamin. Ben, I should have asked you ahead of time how you pronounce your last name. Is it Bertolero?
Yep, that's perfect.
Yeah, got it first try. Benjamin Bertolero. Benjamin is a pastor over at Legacy Christian Church in Clovis, in Clovis, California. Where is Clovis, California?
Clovis is in the Central Valley, right up against Fresno. So Fresno, Clovis, I mean, we're neighbors. So you can get to Clovis. Growing up, I lived right on the borderline. I could literally just cross the street and I was in Clovis. But yeah, right in the Central Valley. And yeah, it's kind of like a farming town.
Nice.
So it's good.
No, the real question everybody has though is how close are you to Disneyland?
Yeah, I think everybody would answer not close enough, maybe.
Those who know me know that I'm a Disney nerd, and
oh, sweet.
For 6 years I lived in Fullerton, just outside of Anaheim, about 10 minutes from Disneyland. Had a season pass. Me and my friends would go twice a week, just hanging out. I tell people that I majored in preaching and I minored in Disneyland. That was my time in college. That's what it was.
There we go.
Yeah. So, hey, Benjamin, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then tell us a little bit more about Legacy Church. So let's start with yourself. Tell us about you, my friend, family, what you're into, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I have a family. I've been married 21 years to my wife, and we've got 3 kids. My eldest, she's 23, and she's a chef in Clovis. I just couldn't be more proud of her. And then my son is 12. His name is Judah. My eldest daughter, her name's Megan. And my baby girl is Gabriella, and she's 10. And so they're great kids. I'm just so thankful for them.
Yeah.
My wife, Amy, and I, we have been together for 23 years. And my ex-girlfriend introduced us both, and that's like a whole other story in itself. Let's just say that the Lord knew what He was doing. And just opened the door for us to get to know one another. I've been a pastor. See, I got ordained in 2012, but I've been in ministry since I was around 13 years old. My dad was actually a pastor, so I'm a PK. He founded the Legacy Christian Church in 1981, but at that point it was called the Fresno Christian Growth Center, which is a mouthful, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
And so around 2003 or so, we changed the name to Legacy, the Legacy Christian Church, because we felt it encapsulated exactly the vision of the church and what we're about, grabbing a hold of a legacy that was good and godly, and then walking that out before your own family, and walking it in a way where you're leading by example to your friends and people that may look up to you, offering that legacy to you. But also, as good news, some of us come from backgrounds and legacies that we may not be so proud of.
Right.
But the good news about Christ is He redeems and restores and reconciles and offers us a legacy that is worth walking in.
Oh man, and just we're already getting into preaching here, but the whole idea that we get to be adopted children in this legacy, right? This was not supposed to be our legacy. We don't deserve this legacy. We didn't earn it.
Right.
We weren't even born into it. We are being invited into it, and we are being lovingly pulled into it. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. It really is.
I totally agree, man. It gives knuckleheads like me a bit of good news.
Knuckleheads like all of us, my friend. All of us. Oh man, but
so that's just sidebar there. I didn't mean to jump ahead into the ministry type stuff.
Yeah, this is great.
So, like I said, my dad's a pastor, or was a pastor since I was growing up. I got saved when I was 4. I was at the kitchen table and I was coloring, and I told my mom, I was like, I just felt the tug on my heart, and I said I want to accept Jesus into my heart. And as soon as I did that, I kid you not, man, I felt the Lord speak to me in that moment, and I felt Him telling me, Ben, I want you to do what your dad does. I want you to be like your dad. I want you to be a pastor.
Hmm.
And so, the only thing that I understood at that point was that, okay, God wants me to be in ministry, and I get to do what my dad does. And so from a young age, I think I was 6 when I started going on hospital calls with him, and he just taught me how to love on people, and how to be present with them and their families in hard times.
It's amazing.
And I really, really, I think the Lord gave me a real desire just to make people feel loved and encouraged. And so that was my little kind of gateway into ministry. But the nerd side of me, the geek side of me is there. And my dad, I think, happened to be maybe a closeted nerd or geek himself. I remember he loved Star Trek, and I loved loved the old Star Trek, but also loved the new generation or the next generation with Picard. I remember at one point, Cheerios was giving away like little stickers or something in their box, and we found one of my dad's favorite character, Worf, and we stuck it on the inside of this like mirror where he would get ready in the morning. We had a kind of a smaller bathroom kind of down the hall, so he wouldn't wake anybody up when he would go to work so early, and put it in there for him. And so he loved that. He was also a huge fantasy buff. He loved Narnia. He loved especially Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Loved like the old-fashioned monster movies. Like his number one movie was The Thing.
Oh man,
with James
yeah.
Arness.
Oh man,
And
that's
so,
such a good movie.
Bro, I mean, so I grew up watching that. I mean, our favorite thing to do, we always ask my dad, "Hey, Dad, is there any monster movies on?" It'd be like a Saturday afternoon, and so we'd look for monster movies to watch, and loved it. I remember my first introduction into the exposure to the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit was there was the Hobbit cartoon that came on, and he's like, guys, you gotta watch this. And I mean, the music, the art in it, man, I just immediately was connected to it all. I mean, absolutely loved it. And then he'd call them Hobbit adventures. So we'd go out in the neighborhood, which was quickly transformed into Middle Earth, and we were looking for trolls and goblin hordes, and picking up sticks, and they quickly became our own swords. And yeah. I mean, we loved it. Loved drawing. I mean, I still have a passion for drawing. I love sitting down and drawing with my kids, but all sorts of warriors and creatures and
so something
and
that
stuff
we really promote at SavePoint, and that I've found to be so true in my family, is when people create together, whether that's imaginative, whether that's artistic, whether that's gameplay, whatever it is, when people create together, it creates a bond, right? That's, again, SavePoint really promotes those nerd-friendly churches, because when people get together and they can imagine together, they can create together, when they can talk about hobbies together in this way, it brings this close bond together. Me and my family, we're creative in a ton of ways together. We have a table that's supposed to be our dining room table, but it's currently covered with miniatures and paint, just like all over the place. And we'll get together and we'll just paint and listen to an audiobook, right? And we'll just chill.
Love it.
And it's so much fun. Okay. Let's get into our game today. And then I want to talk to you more about monster movies, actually, because I got thoughts on that too. But
sweet.
But first, let's go ahead and jump into our game for the day here. We are playing Heroes of Hammerwatch 2. Can you tell us about Heroes of Hammerwatch 2? What is this game? What kind of style of game is this? What's going on here?
Gosh, so Heroes of Hammerwatch 2 is an roguelite RPG-esque fantasy game. It's pixelated, and so don't let me speak for you, but I would assume it takes you back to when things like Zelda and A Link to the Past and all those Chrono Trigger, all the great SNES games that took up so many of my afternoons growing up. Really was nostalgic for me. And a friend of mine was like, "Hey, buddy, you got to check this out." And I was like, "Okay, let's try it out." And he hooked me onto it, and so we've been playing ever since. And it's been great.
Yeah, it's this really cool twin stick shooter. You said like roguelites, and there's different classes and different builds you can get in here.
Yes.
I have played not a ton of it, so I have a much weaker character than you do. We're gonna see how much of a difference that makes here.
Okay.
Because I have. Ooh, what is this?
So what this does, this allows you to pick a buff, and so you look at kind of like what you want, and you can choose those. The green ones or the kind of like uncommon. Gray is common, and then it goes all the way up to like blue and like purple, I believe.
So okay, monster movies.
Yes.
I'm assuming. How old are you? I'm 42.
Yeah, I'm 43.
Okay, so you're right around there with me. Back in the day, if I said the name Joe Bob Briggs, would you know that name?
Honestly, the name doesn't ring a bell, and
okay.
I probably will have to turn my card in because of that.
No. It's obscure. It was one of those things where, like, at midnight on certain. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of waffles. On certain. Like TNT or some like cable network channel, they would start a monster movie double feature with Joe Bob Briggs, and it was always like these B movie slasher films and whatever else. But as a kid, I loved them. There was just something about the horror genre, at least for me. These days, I don't know why my imagination has gotten more deep or what, but I can't sleep well if I watch horror movies these days. But back in the day, man, I loved them. So tell me, you said you love monster movies. Do you still love monster movies?
I do. The older stuff. Some of the newer stuff is a bit dark for my taste, and I don't like things that don't end like with a good ending. And so I mean, maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I like the old stuff where the monster at the end dies and the hero emerges or the heroine emerges, and it's happy ever after.
Well, so other than The Thing, any of like your old favorites?
Yeah, so let me think. The Thing definitely sticks out because it was my dad's favorite. I loved, okay, so you're going to laugh. Did you ever watch Night of the Lepus?
No.
So it's about giant rabbits that attack this town, and it's totally like just a bunch of rabbits, and they're obviously just shooting them around a bunch of miniature trains and stuff. So it's so cheesy, but it was so cool. I liked that one. I liked like the gosh, what was it? I think it was not. Oh, this area will unlock. Oh, is it unlocked for you? Did you beat this area already?
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Oh, sweet.
I've never been in here before.
Oh yeah, it's probably because I beat it and he's there for me, but typically this area would not open up until you beat the next dungeon, which is over to the right. If you want to, if you want to go ahead, we can. You're probably a little
like there's the totem.
Yeah.
And
did you beat the totem?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then this should open up for you.
Okay.
Then.
Cool. All right. What's this guy got to say here? Figured out that door too. It gets harder now. Oh, and we got a sorcerer class now. That's cool.
Yes. So these candles, I don't know how many show for you,
4.
But depending on the number of candles that you light, will unlock the next area. So the first candle you light is kind of, I think, was what you would normally face for it. Then you just hit this button, and a bunch of enemies are going to spawn out.
Okay. There. All right. I see.
Yeah. So I liked. There was one, and I don't know if it was just called Night of the Giant Ants or something, but it was like these huge ants that showed up and attacked the town and the army. And
jeez, brutal. Okay, maybe I'm not ready for this area yet. Yeah.
Okay.
I done got wrecked. But yeah, so was that like an old black and white one?
It was old. I want to say it was black and white
because I think I remember that.
There's that one.
I watched a bunch of the old, like, really dumb B-movie ones, like Puppet Master.
Uh-huh.
Gosh, what else was there? Ones that there were like Leprechaun, where there was like 18 of them that it ended up being, and just like as I look back, I'm like, man, these are not good movies, but
Yes.
I loved them as a kid. I really did. Wow, do I get all of these items?
Yeah, that's all. It's all the loot is instant, so whatever you see is yours.
That's crazy. This is by far the most loot I've ever gotten here. Hang on. And there's stuff that I don't. What is this? Like a blue mana crystallizer?
Oh,
I can't
that's
equip
cool.
that though. Yeah, these are things that looks like I can't equip. Plus 40 armor? Sweet sassy Molassie. Oh, can't wear
Sweet.
that though. Alright. Why can't I wear any of these? I wonder. Is it like a too high level for me maybe?
It could be, or it's not armor. It's a trinket, and trinkets are passive. They're like passive bonuses for you that you just stack up.
That's probably it here. Okay, so we go through this red door now.
Yep. So I like those movies, and maybe it's maybe not correct to call them horror movies, but we would just call them monster movies, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try to think. I loved Godzilla movies. I think there was one called Gargantuan or something, and it was like these two large, like giant type monsters. One was good and one was bad. And I remember there was this scene where you were looking into the water, and one of them was sitting in the water, and he was like looking up, and I just scared the garbage out of me as a kid. You know, and but I mean, it was awesome. My brother and I, we loved them. My sister, she not so much. You know, she was more one to watch. You know what we would say at that time, dumb girl stuff. But yeah, Godzilla, but Jaws was great. We really got on this. Oh, you leveled up, nice.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
We got on this like piranha fix, and so the like movies about the killer piranhas. That was like, oh, Dad, that's awesome. Then every night for a long time, we wanted them to tell us piranha stories. Dad, tell us a piranha story. You know.
You ever see Attack of the Killer Tomatoes?
Yes, we saw that. I think it was on TV once.
Yeah, dude, that's a classic that I watched a lot when I was a kid, just because it's so dumb. If y'all haven't seen Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, I was about to call you chat because I'm so used to streaming. Viewers, if you haven't seen Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, it is a B movie that's meant to be a B movie, like it was created to be just kind of a dumb movie. We're supposed to dash past these. Is that the goal here?
Yeah, you can.
All right.
I forgot how to dash. Is it B?
Yeah,
Let's
B. Ow. Oh. I died instantly here. I didn't realize the door would hurt me. I walked in here and it was like an instantaneous dunzo. How often can you resurrect people?
I want to say as much as I'm alive.
Oh, wow.
And it may take a potion from me, I think.
Okay, that would make sense.
Have you unlocked your potions yet?
Yeah. I'm empty of them though, but yeah.
Okay, so here's viewers or whatever, if you played this before or you haven't, if you keep an eye on the walls around us, you'll see certain walls will have what looks like a line or a crack. Yeah, try to hit it. Does it make any noise? If it's a breakable wall, it'll start to chip, and then you have a secret area. I want to say there's like at least one secret area per level. No, it's not there then.
Okay.
It would start showing right away. If you pull open your map too, it'll show you on the map where the secret areas are by just a tiny indicator. I'm trying to remember what map button is it. Is it up? Okay, it's up.
Yeah.
On my joystick. You'll see areas where the wall is a little shady.
Interesting.
And if I see it, I'll let you know.
I found one before, but I didn't realize that they were like one per area. I expected them to be like much less common than that.
No, they're what.
It may be it may be worth it for us to go to a simpler area here.
Sure. Do you want to just quit out?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and abandon the run.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Cool. We're going to head back here. So, okay, while I'm going to be doing a little bit of shopping here, tell us about your church. Tell us about Legacy. What kind of stuff you guys got going on there?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, Legacy, its roots started in 1981. April of 2018, the Easter Sunday, we've been there and loved being able to have our own building. We don't own it, we're renting it, but we've been there, and the story that we actually were able to go into there is a miracle in itself. I don't know, do you want me to go into that at all, or?
Well, are you ready? Can you play and talk?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's make it happen, man. Tell us the story. We want to hear it.
Yeah, so leading up to this point, our church had a pretty hard leadership shift. And I mentioned before that my father was a founding pastor, and he was going through some pretty tough stuff. And that'll give you an experience bonus there.
Nice.
And he had open heart surgery, triple bypass in 2015, and I think it really messed his brain up. And so it literally damaging his brain, and he started making decisions that were not the norm for him. And so he decided to step down, and which was hard for a lot of people. And in doing that, my parents ended up getting a divorce. And let me just say that I've got such a empathy for kids who experience divorce. I was a man. I mean, I was, they got divorced in 2017, and that was tough for me as a man. Like, that really affected me, They'd been married for over 30 years, and because of what was going on, the marriage ended, and they're stepping out of ministry. At that point, the other pastor had stepped away because he out of respect for my dad, not wanting to get in his way, and he didn't want to be one of those guys that led a coup, basically.
Right, absolutely.
He's like, I respectfully going to step away. I'm not going to talk about what's happening. I'm not going to spread any rumors or anything.
That's really kind.
So he stepped. Yeah, it was. I have so much respect for him.
Yeah.
But so he stepped away, and basically it was just me. And I was in a world of hurt, and really tried my best to honor the ministry there. I didn't want people to feel abandoned. And so for 40 days, I travailed over what was happening. We were completely honest with everybody. What was going on. We didn't want to be a type of ministry that tried to make everything appear perfect when it was not. Right. And so we told them, listen, pastor's getting a divorce. He's stepping away. Pastor Andy's, he's stepping away. If you have any questions for us, we'll answer them. There's no infidelity or anything like that. Right. But so I sat down, and my days consisted of meeting with people, explaining to them over and over what was going on, answering questions. I gathered the leadership and the elders together and let them know what was going on for a meeting shortly after everything was going on. And I sat through about an hour and a half of people out of their own pain and brokenness, reaming me and worried that I was going to make the same mistakes, And man, let me tell you, if the Lord hadn't been there with me, I don't know that I could have survived that, as far as emotionally, and just I was so shattered after that. But hindsight and looking back, people have said how impactful that meeting was for them, because it was honest, and I tried to care for them in that. And so 40 days of stuff like that, and at the end of those 40 days, after meeting with the board multiple nights, the pastor who had left, we asked him to come back and said, this is what's going on here. And in praying myself, people asked, well, why didn't you just take the lead pastor role? And I said, well, for one, it's not mine to take. It's not my church. I mean, it's the church I attend, but this is God's church.
Right.
And the minute I start taking ownership over things that I don't have ownership over, is when we're going to get into some trouble.
Right.
And so when the Lord was speaking to me in prayer, he said, you know, all I'm asking you to do is just be there for the people during this time, and to walk with Pastor Andy in this shoulder to shoulder. And when the time comes, I'll lead you in what you're supposed to do. And I said, okay. And so at the end of these 40 days, I felt that the Lord was saying, okay, Pastor Andy is gonna take lead. I've asked him to be the lead pastor, and I was totally fine with that. He came in and was super conscientious, like, man, you know, like, are you okay? You know, are we okay? Absolutely. You know, it's a funny thing about him was we grew up not far from each other. He grew up on the other side of the street, kind of behind us, and
So like legit not far from each other.
No, man, we were close, and he was my babysitter, you know, for a while, growing up, and so we were connected. We had a pretty tight relationship, and at the end of that time of praying, we had a new vision for the church. You know, you lose people leave, but it's funny, people actually started coming. Like, we had growth during that time, and that's a testament to God's faithfulness, because churches don't grow when they're going through something like we went through. And so I get a message on a Sunday morning from a friend of mine who says, hey, my church is moving out of their building. Would Legacy like a building? And we were like, yeah. We'd have to come look at it. We don't, you know, we're not a big church, and we don't have a lot of money, and so all these are factors on us getting into that new space. And so we ended up coming to look at that space and said, you know what, if we were to change a few things around, this could really work for us. And so that checked the box. The rent was affordable. We were paying rent for the school that we were meeting at and the office buildings that we had. So condensing down to one place was just about the same amount.
A big deal too, like getting to have your own building. Yeah, that's awesome.
Huge. And in that, the next hurdle we faced was the fact that we were in a lease. And we had about 3 or 4 years left of that lease, and we were going to have to pay the rest of that lease off, and that was going to be around, I don't know, $50,000 or $60,000, unless we could figure out a way to have somebody assume our lease. This right here, this well will refill your potions.
Yeah, I'm okay though.
Okay, you're good. Okay.
Usually in these opening areas, I don't need that kind of stuff. It's not until I get in like the caves or whatever else that starts to struggle. And
so in that, we went and looked it out. We were talking to our neighbors one day, and our neighbors a couple doors down in the office complex, and they were looking for a bigger space, and they had commented before how much they loved our space. But the issue is the lease again. So if they're in the lease, they're going to have to do the same thing. But turned out that they weren't in a lease, and they hadn't been because of like some delay in paperwork or something.
Oh, nice.
And so they were able to assume. So we were able to transition right out of there without having to pay anything. And we're able to start going to the church, start going to that place, that location. We spent about 3 months just fixing it up. I was there for like 12-hour days for a good amount of 2.5 months or so. And same with the other pastor, volunteers, got it to a space. People were so gracious in it all. They all understood. They were all excited. And we've been there ever since.
That's incredible.
And I mean, just again, I'm just constantly reminded that if it's God's will, it's God's will. And he's gonna front the cost, and provide whatever you need.
I gotta say,
go ahead.
I gotta say that going back to like the whole pastor thing, I have such respect for pastors who are offered power and say, "No, that's not for me right now." Like, no thanks, because that just shows such healthy self-awareness that unfortunately, a lot of pastors don't have. you know, most pastors, not, I won't say most, a lot of pastors, when said, hey, do you want, you know, to be our senior pastor, or do you want a quote unquote promotion, we'll take that immediately without, you know, really prayerfully considering it, without thinking of their spiritual maturity or what they're actually called to or whatever else, you know, and just the ability to say, you know what, I appreciate you thinking of me, but no thank you. That's awesome, man. That's really, really cool. Again, for those of you looking for a church, it shows health. It shows a lot of really important health within a church.
Well, that's kind of you. I wish I could say it was just completely all, like I just was completely consumed with wanting to do what was right. I think a large part of it too, man, in all honesty, was I was terrified. I really didn't think, like, how am I going to do this? You know? And at the same time,
people should be, right? I mean, James says that not many of you should consider to be teachers because teachers will be judged more severely. And yet there's so many people who are just ready, like, yeah, it's my time to be the pastor, my time to be the teacher, or whatever else. And instead of like really thinking like, ooh, this is a big responsibility. Whoa, that was like,
oh, so this is cool.
Oh, right.
This guy right here, he'll send back all the gear and stuff that you've picked up so far, so that if you were to die, you won't lose it. So your gold, your resources can all go back, and I usually will save him until I've cleared the area, so that we can send as much much back as we can.
What about like, monsters? What about monsters? Oh, here we go. I got it. Like the size of your church and what kind of worship do you have? Like, give me a little bit more about the style of Legacy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so if everyone came on a Sunday and showed up, like they should, we'd have about probably 200 people, if they all showed. But we don't usually have everyone that, you know, they got stuff going on,
right.
And, you know, not everyone comes. And so on any given Sunday, we have two services. One that meets at 9 a.m. Second service meets at 10:30. 9 a.m. service is mainly towards the workers that will be working in the second service for Children's Church, so they don't have to miss out.
Yep.
So that's got around probably 20 people or so that show up. Our second service is probably around anywhere from 70 to 80 people that show up normally on average.
That's a really fun size though, because when I started at my church, that was about our size. We'd get about 250, 300 people, but that was between two services, and that was only if everybody showed up, kind of thing, you know. So really, it was about 80 to 100 people per service, and you're able to get to know everybody, right? You're able to know everybody's name and have that sort of like strong community. Our church is a little bit bigger now. We built a new building and have expanded and grown. Oh, it's incredible. It's such a blessing, and it means that we're reaching more people, which is beautiful and wonderful. But at the same time, I went to a men's retreat recently, and there were people that I'm like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. I've never seen you before. How long have you been going to our church? 5 years. Okay, and it just turns out we went to different services, and that was about it. It's like, oh man, I was the youth pastor at our church for about 10 years. And,
that's great.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it was so much fun. But kind of like we were talking about before, it was a point where, whoa, the log jam is gone.
Yes, that opens up after you beat the totem guy.
Very cool. Oh, that's awesome. But kind of like we were talking about before, it was one of those things where just in honesty and maturity, I realized, you know what? It's time for me to move on. In 10 years, I feel like I'm maybe not called to this anymore. So, time to move on. And that was fine. And so I still go to the church. It was a real friendly, really good transition. Okay, this is really cool. Yeah, I've never been to this area before. Oh, that's not true. I've been to this area once before. So you get to skip the entire lower area. That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah, it's as you beat levels, it creates shortcuts for you, which is, alleviates some of the frustration that you may experience dying so much in the beginning areas and not having to start off so or start over so frequently.
That's really, really nice as it pertains to roguelike. Like having
Yes.
a shortcut to a like later in the game. That's really, really nice.
I sure appreciate it.
Do you play a lot of roguelites? Or roguelikes?
This is probably the second game that introduced me into what that even meant. The first one I played was The Children of Marta. And have you played that one?
I haven't played it. I know it though.
Yeah, so that again, same kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Pixelated and stuff. So that was my first kind of foray into it, and then this has been my more consistent exposure to it.
For me, it was a genre that I'm like, I was originally like, you know what? I don't know if I'd ever really get into that, if it'd ever really be my thing, but you know, maybe I'll try one or two. And it started with when Slay the Spire came to early access, I don't know, 8 years ago-ish.
Okay.
I was hooked immediately and wholly hooked. And I still am to this day. I kid you not, I probably have 3,000 hours in Slay the Spire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I'll just do the daily every day, and that's, you know, it takes about an hour of my time. But over the course of years and years and years, and if I ever decide to do a little bit more or whatever else, so like it's I got a lot of time in this in this game, but the whole mindset of that made me start thinking like, okay, maybe I'll try some others, and so Hades was my next one, and I put
my brother liked that one.
I put about 100 hours into Hades. I beat the whole thing, and like overall. Now, roguelites and roguelikes are my jam. I am a big fan of them. So this one, it really hits a niche that I don't see a lot, which is it's also a little bit of a twin-stick shooter.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and so you don't see that a lot these days, the twin-stick shooter, unless like it's just sort of niche games. And so it's fun to see this. Oh, hearty meal, nice. Yeah, it's been really fun to play this game. On that note, what else have you been playing lately?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a big sucker for RPGs. I mean, I really love them. And so I've been playing the Oblivion Remastered a little bit. Man.
It's on Game Pass, and I just downloaded it, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
It's fun, man. I first played that game in the beginning of my marriage. My eldest daughter was younger. I would play it after she'd go to bed, and at that time we were in an apartment, and so my desk was in my bedroom, and just sitting there, and just all of the feeling of exploring, and you know, having I love the archer. I love shooting people and sneaking with a bow. I mean, I loved it. So I'm playing that a little bit. I actually won a PlayStation 5 a while ago.
Won? How did you win that?
Bro, it was like on one of those fluke when comment this on Instagram or whatever, and somehow my ticket got pulled.
That's incredible.
I won it, and it was awesome. And so I thought it was a scam.
Right.
Like they're like, hey, what's your address? And I'm like,
and
okay.
social security number, and
yeah, I was waiting for them to ask me like for stuff. No, I just got it. And so I got PlayStation 5. I have an Xbox Series X. So I like to play games with my son, the kind of things that he's into. So I'll play Fortnite with him.
Oh, nice.
I'll play. Let's see. He likes Minecraft a lot. So we'll play that. And let's see. We were playing Power World for a bit.
Yeah, I played that for a little bit.
Right now, I guess the games I'm playing right now, just my own preference. I started Days Gone.
Yeah.
On the PS5. Just because my brother had spoken so highly of that, and I love the zombie, kind of like a post-apocalyptic.
Yeah. And this game does it differently and does it really well.
Does it really?
Yeah. Have you encountered a horde yet?
No, I haven't. I'm not.
Oh, the hordes, man. So, the kind of what this game does differently. Do you mind spoil? I guess it's not really spoiled.
No, I don't mind at all.
Is that the zombies are treated more like swarms than individual threats, and so you'll, on average, face like 20 or 30 at a time, and you got to kind of mow them down. But every little once in a while, you'll get a horde, and it will be like an event of essentially it might as well be infinite of them. And they're
Right.
this huge mass that is chasing you, and you have to
Oh,
find
dude.
your way to escape, to block them off, to shoot, take out the ones that are close in front of you, and finally get to a safe place or whatever else. And it is so intense and super duper fun.
That sounds amazing. I love that one. Did you ever play State of Decay?
No, I know that one though.
State of Decay 2 is awesome because it's cross-platform, and so you can, if your buddy has a nice rig and you don't, but you've got an Xbox or whatever, you can play together, and it's fun. Are you able to go in there yet?
Let's find out. Nope, must gather my oh yeah.